Welcome to Discovering Spain, Wildlife, Culture, and Travel Insights. I'm Mike,
And I'm Sarah.
and today we're doing something a bit different. Forget the usual tourist guides for just a moment.
Yeah, we're diving into something pretty unique.
We are. In this deep dive, we're heading, well, virtually, just outside Ronda in Andalusia. We've got this fantastic article by Clive from Ronda today about a place called L.A. Almazara.
That's LA, pronounced like Spanish la, by the way. La Almazara.
Right, good point. And our mission here isn't just, a travel review. It's really about unpacking this incredible collision of art, architecture, and deep Andalusian heritage.
It really is. It's a shortcut to seeing a maybe surprising side of Spain. Because when you think olive oil mill.
You don't think this?
Exactly. Clive Muir's article captures it perfectly. This place, LA Almazara, it just completely flips your expectations. It's not just about making olive oil, it's an experience, a vision.
Okay, so let's get into what makes it so different. It's hidden away, the article says, among olive groves outside Ronda.
Typical Andalusian landscape in that sense.
But then, bang, there's this design by the famous French architect Philippe Starck. A bright red cube. Muir calls it a monolith from another world.
Which is such a great description because you have all the traditional white villages, the cortijos, and then this.
It's definitely a bold departure, as the article puts it, so it gives you a totally fresh reason to think about Ronda, maybe visit again or for the first time.
And what's really fascinating reading Muir's piece is Stark's own concept for it. He called L.A. Almazara an Andalusian Pandora's box.
Ooh, okay. Intriguing. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it means it's just packed with symbolism. It invites you in, encourages you to explore this kind of surreal narrative that's literally built into the structure.
So even the outside tells a story.
Oh, definitely. The article points out some key things you see immediately. There's a giant bull's horn.
Right. A clear nod to Ronda's bullfighting tradition. Very powerful symbol there.
Very direct. Then there's a half-circle shape.
Which must represent the olives, right?
Yes.
Simple, elegant.
Exactly. And then there's this Phoenician-style eye.
Ah, okay, so that connects it way back. Ancient Mediterranean history.
Yeah.
Right here in this super modern building.
Precisely. It grounds this futuristic-looking place in centuries of local history. It's quite clever.
So that's the outside. What happens when you go in? Does that feeling continue?
It does, but the mood shifts. The article describes the lighting as quite low, creating this almost crypt-like or cathedral-like atmosphere.
So it encourages you to slow down, maybe. Pay more attention.
I think so. It feels deliberate, contemplative, not just a factory tour entrance.
And inside. The article mentions some pretty surreal stuff.
Yeah, it gets wonderfully weird. Muir details things like a model flying machine.
Inspired by Abbas Ibn Firnas from Ronda, the early aviation pioneer.
That's the one. And then you've got a giant sword and another bullhorn hanging overhead.
Right.
And a headless figure that just sort of invites interpretation,
Sounds very dreamlike. And something about a metal pipe.
Yeah, a metal pipe that visually represents the olives flowing through the mill. It's all part of this unexpected mix of objects.
What sounds like Stark's idea of poetic functionalism that the article mentions.
Exactly that. It's not just art for art's sake. Every piece, every installation seems to have both a practical link and this deeper symbolic meaning.
Making you think about how things work and what they represent at the same time.
Right. It challenges that separation between beauty and utility.
But it's not just art and symbolism. There's actually an olive oil museum inside, too.
Yes. And possibly, as Muir suggests, the world's only museum dedicated entirely to olive oil, which is kind of amazing when you think about it.
And it has some surprising facts. I love trivia like this.
Me too. Okay, get this. The Titanic apparently carried olive oil, specifically for its first-class passengers.
No way. Okay, that's one I didn't know.
And the Citroen DS car, it actually used olive oil as hydraulic fluid at one point.
Seriously. Hydraulic fluid. Wow. That really shows how versatile it is, or was.
And the museum also puts olive oil in perspective globally. It makes up only about 1.28% of all the edible oil produced worldwide.
Only 1.28%. That's tiny compared to things like palm oil or soy.
Right. Palm, soy, canola. They really dominate the market. Gives you context.
So you've got the art, the museum, but it is still a working mill, right?
Oh, absolutely. Beneath all this, there's a state-of-the-art olive oil production facility. And the article says visitors can actually watch the process.
See the olives getting crushed, purified, bottled, the whole thing.
Yeah. And Muir notes an interesting point. Unlike wine, Olive oil is essentially ready almost right after it's processed. There's no long aging needed.
And Stark designed the milling process itself, too.
He did. The article describes olives entering through a big tube, dropping into a central tank, and getting milled incredibly quickly. It sounds very efficient, very
Or
precise.
probably visually interesting, too, knowing Stark.
You'd imagine so. Even the functional parts seem to have a certain flair.
Okay, so after seeing how it's made, you probably want to taste it.
Naturally. And for that, you head upstairs to the greenhouse. That's the tasting room Muir mentions.
With views over the olive groves, I assume.
Yes, lovely views. And it's not just a quick sip. They actually teach you the professional tasting method.
Oh, like with wine? Swirling and sniffing?
Kind of, yeah. They teach you to smell it near your chest first, then swirl it in your mouth to catch all the flavors, and notice the texture when you swallow if it's smooth or maybe has a peppery kick at the end.
Right, getting all the nuances. It's about really appreciating the quality.
Exactly, engaging all the senses.
Now, for people who really want to immerse themselves, the article mentions accommodation.
It does. There's a luxurious 5-bedroom cortijo, also designed by Stark, just a short walk away.
A cortijo, so a traditional farmhouse style, but with Stark's touch.
Precisely. Muir highlights some amazing details, like designer bathtubs apparently shaped like bullhorns.
Okay, that's memorable.
And a fireplace with kindlers ready to go, a library filled with books on Spanish history, bullfighting, really setting the scene.
So you can actually stay in this world Stark has created. Perfect for a family or a group wanting something really special.
Yeah, it makes it more than just a day trip. It becomes a whole experience.
Let's circle back to the bullfighting symbolism for a second. Muir mentions Stark personally opposes bullfighting.
That's right, which makes his use of the symbolism, the horns, the library books, really interesting.
The article frames it as both a celebration and critique of Andalusian culture. That's a complex idea.
It is. It suggests Stark is using these powerful, maybe controversial local symbols to reflect identity, but perhaps also to provoke thought about it. It's not just a simple endorsement.
So it creates a kind of dialogue within the building itself about tradition, identity, maybe modernity's relationship with the past.
I think that's a great way to put it. It engages with the culture on multiple levels.
So wrapping up the experience itself, what's the takeaway? Who is this place really for?
Well, as Muir concludes, it's described as surreal, powerful, unforgettable, a place where past and future collide.
Sounds like it appeals to a wide range then. Architecture buffs, obviously.
Definitely. But also families, people interested in culture, food lovers, anyone looking for something genuinely unique, I'd say.
And if people are interested in visiting, the article mentions booking options.
Yeah, it says you can book visits through platforms like Get Your Guide or Viator. Makes it pretty accessible.
Good to know. And just to remind everyone, it's LA Almazara, pronounced La.
Got it. It really is one of those places that seems to challenge your idea of what a travel destination can be. Blending industry, art, culture. It's quite something.
It really does sound fascinating. So it's clear LA Almazara offers this incredibly unique experience down there near Ronda, way beyond the typical tourist trail.
Absolutely. A really worthwhile consideration if you're planning a trip to that part of Spain and want something extraordinary.
And we should definitely give credit again to Clive Muir, the author of the Ronda Today article that sparked this whole discussion.
Yes, definitely. His work providing English language tourist info for Western Andalusia is invaluable. Ronda Today is just one part of it.
Right, the article mentioned he's also involved with websites for places like Cadiz, Grazalema, the Caminito del Rey.
And also Wildside Holidays, which focuses on sustainable, eco-friendly wildlife and walking holidays in Spain. A fantastic resource.
So a big thank you to Clive for the inspiration and the detailed look at LA Almazara. It really does sound like an experience that stays with you.
It does, and maybe it leaves us and our listeners with a final thought to mull over.
Go on.
Well, maybe consider how other seemingly ordinary industrial processes or everyday places around us could be transformed by art and design.
Ah, you mean looking for the potential for artistry and meaning in unexpected places?
Exactly. How can function become poetry? L.A. Almazara seems to ask that question, and it's something we can maybe apply our own eyes to wherever we are.